The observance of Maundy Thursday is one that is grounded greatly in tradition and rich in symbolism.
Maundy Thursday is a time we celebrate Christ's final 2 acts on earth and gain a deeper understanding of his new commandment. For that's what Maundy Thursday means, new commandment.
I give you a new commandment, love one another. You must love one another just as I have loved you. It is by your love for one another that everyone will recognize you as my disciples.
Allow yourself to view the events of this evening through the eyes of this new commandment.
Look for the symbolism in the actions of Christ.
Observe how he teaches us to love in a new way.
To love by caretaking.
To love by being available to one another.
To love by serving.
The time had come to celebrate the Passover.
The Lord said to Moses and Aaron in Egypt, "This month is to be for you the first month of your year. Tell the whole community of Israel that on the 10th day of this month, each man is to take a lamb for his family, one for each household. Take care of them until the 14th day of the month, when all the people of the community of Israel must slaughter them at twilight. Then they are to take some of the blood and put it on the sides and tops of the door frames of the houses where they eat the lambs.
That same night, they are to eat the meat roasted over the fire, along with bitter herbs and bread made without yeast. Do not eat the meat raw or cooked in water, but roast it over the fire, head, legs, and inner parts.
Do not leave any of it until morning. If some is left until morning, you must burn it. This is how you are to eat it, with your cloak tucked into your belt, your sandals on your feet, and your staff in your hand. Eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover."
On that same night, I will pass through Egypt and strike down every firstborn, both men and animals, and I will bring judgment on all the gods of Egypt. I am the Lord. The blood will be a sign for you on the houses where you are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you. No destructive plague will touch you when I strike Egypt.
This is the day you are to commemorate. For the generations to come, you shall celebrate it as a festival to the Lord, a lasting ordinance.
From the earliest records, blood has been associated with sacrifice and the ability to save. It symbolized the preciousness of the life offered.
God, knowing that we could not provide for our own, sent us a Passover lamb, his own lamb, Jesus.
Jesus sent Peter and John to make preparation for him and the disciples to share the Passover meal.
He told them, "As you enter the city, a man carrying a jar of water will meet you. Follow him to the house that he enters and say to the owner of the house, 'The teacher asks, where's the guest room where I may eat the Passover with my disciples?' He will show you to a large upper room, all furnished. Make preparations there."
When they had all arrived, the Lamb, in an act of love and nurturance, served the Passover meal.
Then, as now, we are reminded that the table we share is Christ's, not our own.
The Lamb, in an act of foreshadowing, tells the disciples,
"I have eagerly desired to eat this Passover with you before I suffer. For I tell you, I will not eat it again until it finds fulfillment in the kingdom of God."
The disciples, sensing the possible loss of the Lamb, were grieved. Believing that Jesus was God was easy. Sitting helplessly waiting for the unknown was as distasteful as vinegar in their mouths.
We, along with the disciples, will take the Passover as it is served by Christ.
And he took the bread, gave thanks, and broke it, and gave it to them, saying, "This is my body given for you. Do this in remembrance of me. Take and eat."
In the same way, after the supper, he took the cup, saying, "This cup is the new covenant in my blood, which I poured out for you. Take and drink."
The prophet Jeremiah wrote, "The time is coming, declares the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. It will not be like the covenant I made with their forefathers when I took them by the hand and led them out of Egypt, because they broke my covenant. Though I was a husband to them, I will be their God, and they will be my people. For I will forgive their wickedness and remember their sins no more.
The Lamb demonstrates his great love for us through his service.
Jesus continued, "The hand of him who is going to betray me is with mine on the table. The Son of Man will go as it has been decreed, but woe to that man who betrays him."
Distressed, confused, and angered by what they had just heard, the disciples began examining themselves and each other. They became caught up in trivialities and pretentious searches of power.
In an effort to quell the disputes among his disciples, Jesus speaks to them as a loving friend.
The greatest of you should be like the youngest, and the one who rules like the one who serves. For who is greater, the one who is at the table or the one who serves? Is it not the one who is at the table? But I am among you as one who serves. You are those who have stood by me in my trials, and I confer on you a kingdom, just as my Father conferred one on me, so that you may eat and drink at my table in my kingdom, and sit on thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel.
The new commandment requires humbling service as a demonstration of love, Christ-like love, sacrificial love.
The Lamb, knowing it is soon time for the sacrifice, encourages the disciples. He tells them that he is praying the Father will strengthen them.
Peter declares his devotion to the Lamb even unto death. Jesus, knowing the hearts of men, foresees Peter's denial and tells him, "Before the rooster crows today, you will deny 3 times that you know me."
The disciples were understandably shaken by what Jesus had told them. Feelings of loss and grief were compounded by feelings of confusion and fear. How could this be happening? Why must Jesus be betrayed? Which one of us is guilty? Or are we all guilty?
Jesus calmly and gently stood from the table where he had been sharing with his friends. Wrapping a towel around his waist, drawing from a basin, he began his final act of service. He washed the feet of his companions.
He came to Simon Peter, and Peter said to him, "Lord, do you wash my feet?" Jesus answered him, "What I am doing you do not know now, but afterward you will understand." Peter said to him, "You shall never wash my feet." Jesus answered him, "If I do not wash you, you have no part in me." Simon Peter said to him, "Lord, not my feet only, but also my hands and my head."
Jesus said to him, "The one who bathes needs only to wash the feet to be clean all over. And you are clean, but not every one of you." For he knew the one who was to betray him, and that he would do so with a kiss. That was why he said, "You are not all clean."
When he had washed their feet and resumed his place, he said to them, "Do you know what I have done to you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right, for so I am. If I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have given you an example, that you also should do as I have done to you."
Suddenly, things became clear. Little comments Jesus had made through the years began to make sense, not only intellectually, but they truly had understanding. Comments such as, "You shall be fishers of men," and "Feed my sheep."
Comments about nurturing and caring for one another. Love, yes, loving one another.
That night, the Lamb gave a new commandment, that we love one another. You must love one another just as I have loved you. It is by your love for one another that everyone will recognize you as my disciples.
The talk of love and service soon became interrupted by the harsh reality that their time together would soon be gone. As the Passover meal was both a sacrifice that turned away God's wrath and a sustenance for the journey ahead, so the Last Supper reflects Jesus' giving of himself for our redemption and remaining with us as we journey into the future.
With heavy hearts and dreadful expectations, the disciples followed Christ as they left that place.
From habit, Christ's footsteps take him to a garden, the garden of gnarled olive trees and rugged rocks, where he has so often gone in the night to pray away the burdens of his heart.
But tonight in Gethsemane, the heaviness will not go away. "Drink ye all of it," he said just hours before to his friends as they shared the Messiah's cup, the cup of the new covenant. How could they know what now brimmed from the cup that he has to drink? It doesn't hold the sweet wine of companionship. This cup now stands as a yawning chasm before him. He sees the past in the cup and the future.
He sees the sick perversions of every From habit, Christ's footsteps take him to a garden, the garden of gnarled olive trees and rugged rocks, where he has so often gone in the night to pray away the burdens of his heart.
But tonight in Gethsemane, the heaviness will not go away. "Drink ye all of it," he said just hours before to his friends as they shared the Messiah's cup, the cup of the new covenant. How could they know what now brimmed from the cup that he has to drink? It doesn't hold the sweet wine of companionship. This cup now stands as a yawning chasm before him. He sees the past in the cup and the future.
He sees the sick perversions of every Sodom and Gomorrah, the bloody wars of violence of brother against brother, the betrayals of trust against the innocent. He hears the cries of children violated and abused, the sobs of women, battered in body and broken in spirit, the angry shouts of men in streets where violence tears relationships apart, the bitter voices of young men who have no one to trust. In this cup, he sees teenagers writhing in the muddy battlefields of some insane war, crying for the mercy of death.
He sees long lines of naked Jewish men, women, and children marching toward long gray buildings whose smokestacks belch the sickening stench of burning flesh.
In this cup, he sees unborn children and their child mothers who weep at night for the lost childhoods of them all.
And there is the silence in the cup, the long, empty silence that widows know when there's no one to talk to. The uncomfortable silence, as thick as a cement wall between fathers and sons who have never found a way to love or be loved. The panicked silence of mothers who wait for word from lost daughters. The desperate silence of children who wait for an alcoholic parent to burst into the room where they cower terrified in the darkness.
He sees all the violations, all the pain, all brokenness from Eden to Gethsemane, and from Gethsemane to the end of time.
Since Bethlehem, he has walked this earth as a man with all the human limitation, except one. He has the terrible awareness of God, and this awareness eats at his soul, confirming that he must not only see all the pain in this cup, but he will have to experience all of it, become both victim and violator. Yes, become sin itself, if the lost children of the Father are to ever be restored to wholeness.
This terrible awareness is more than a human body was ever meant to bear. Drops of blood began to rupture from the pores of his forehead as if they were drops of sweat.
So
He turns for the support of a friend, for someone just to be there with him in this hour. But his friends are asleep. Human companionship is no match for the commitment this relationship demands. He will drink alone, as he walked alone from Eden to Gethsemane, and now from Gethsemane to Golgotha. The road he must take will be called sorrow. The man of sorrows must walk this road, and he must go alone.